most of the Old Norse corpus, in particular the mythology and poetry, is in Old Icelandic, making Old West Norse or Norrönt the main studied dialect of the language. Medieval Scandinavia was, much like the modern era, a large dialect continuum. Eastern and Western dialectal traits overlapped in many areas, such as Eastern Norway, Western Sweden, and in the north. Old Norse is usually divided into two main dialect areas, with some minor exceptions, such as Gutnish. Old East Norse is well attested from both the Viking Age and High Middle Ages, but mostly in genres of lesser literary value. 13th century Old Swedish forms the basis for Old East Norse, with the bulk of runic and legal texts being from Sweden. Old Danish is much less attested, but they were not that different at the time. Danish and Swedish began drifting apart during the Middle Ages furthermore. Old East Norse is the origin of modern Swedish, Danish and Norwegian bokmål, and was also widely spoken outside of Scandinavia, such as in England or the Baltic Sea region. Thus, it is very important from a diachronic point of view. Phonology. The diphthongs a, ö, and au became e and ö, starting in Denmark already in the Viking Age and reaching central Sweden by the 12th century. Hence, West Norse stein, raudr, East Norse sten, röder. Northern dialects were not as regularly affected though, which is seen in, for example, Norrland and Finland today. A umlaut was almost absent in the most eastern Swedish dialects, like in Gutnish. Eastern hult, skotin, Western holt, skotin. This is a very old isogloss with short o, almost absent in some medieval Swedish dialects, such as that in Östergötland. Germanic aiu developed as its own segment in East Norse in distinct ways, generally written io and becoming jö in later Swedish. One of the most striking features of Old East Norse is the abundant breaking of Proto-Norse short e, with, for example, Western ek, stela, and Eastern jak, stjala. This broken ja and also ja later fronted in most East Norse dialects, leading to examples such as East Norse själver. Another typical feature of East Norse is the preservation of nasals in front of voiceless consonants to a larger extent than in West Norse. For example, West Norse vetter, bratt, and East Norse vinter, brant. Runic East Norse kept the distinction with Germanic z from r for a very long time. This intermediate stage, transcribed as a small capital R, was kept separate until the 11th century. When rhotacism was complete, the final R from older z could often be dropped, and this was far more frequent the further south you got, for example in Denmark and Götaland. This R phoneme from Germanic z triggered fronting in West Norse, but usually not in East Norse, with, for example, West Norse dyr, East Norse dior. One of the most classical East and West Norse dialect differences in Scandinavia, for example visible between Norwegian and Swedish today, is how West Norse had o and East Norse had å in a certain set of words. West Norse tro, ko, and bro. East Norse tro, ko, and bro. This forms a specific lexical set in Scandinavian, with the boundary going roughly in Western Sweden traditionally. Another typical East Norse feature, which is already visible in Viking Age inscriptions and abundant in manuscripts, is the insertion of d or b before syllabic r or l, with, for example, West Norse hjalmer, tenner, compared to East Norse hjalmbr, tender. The long vowel e, mostly from Proto-Norse ech or eo, became ä and merged with the product of I umlauted long a, probably around the same time that a became e. This leads to West Norse fe compared to East Norse fä. But this opening of the vowel did not happen in certain contexts. For example, when inflectional endings followed. For example, the subjunctive form of the copula, sea or sein, where e did not turn into ä. The development ea to ja did not happen in East Norse, where for example you have West Norse sja, East Norse sea, meaning to see. This is a very obvious shift if you look at, for example, Old Icelandic compared to Old Swedish, or Norwegian Nynorsk to Swedish or Danish today. The Germanic diphthong eo regularly became io in East Norse, whereas it split into jo or jo in West Norse, depending on context and the surrounding consonants. East Norse sioker, thjover, West Norse sioker, thjover. Some vowels were higher or lower in West or East Norse, where, for example, sometimes East Norse would keep the high vowel, where West Norse would lower it, and vice versa. For example, West Norse ver, geva, East Norse vir, giva. The East Norse form was actually borrowed into English, giving English give. W breaking was a sound change that led to different results in West and East Norse. In West Norse, it simply rounded short I to Y, but in East Norse, it diphthongized to short IO, giving West Norse syngva, lyng, and East Norse sjunga, ljung, where Gutnish did not have this shift at all, with the English cognates being sing and ling. The consonant h was lost before consonants early in East Norse. West Norse ravn, nevi, hlaupa, East Norse ramn, nevi, löpa. Consonantal W was preserved before r in East Norse. West Norse ranger, East Norse vranger. U umlaut was very typical of West Norse and very regular in Old Icelandic. However, in practically all Eastern Scandinavian, it was almost completely absent or leveled out, where you, for example, have East Norse kallum instead of West Norse kollum. The neuter demonstratives that and dative form thwi correspond to Eastern thet and thy. The neuter forms of the numerals tvau and thriu correspond to tu and thry in East Norse. These forms are also used in Gutnish. The directional adverbs were different in East Norse compared to West Norse, with East Norse having heat and theet, roughly meaning to here and to there, where West Norse had hingat and thengat. Archaic English hither and thither roughly correspond to these adverbs in meaning. A typical word in Old East Norse was huru or huaro, meaning how, derived from the indefinite pronoun huar in the dative neuter singular form, originally developed from an old instrumental case ending. The conjunction edha was not that common in East Norse, that preferred ella instead. Both words could be found in either dialect area, and the word ella is related to English else. Another shared feature with Gutnish, which is found in Old East Norse, is the addition of the n to the third person neuter plural pronoun, leading to West Norse thou, East Norse thön, Old Gutnish thaun. This was also extended to the demonstrative neuter thessin. Runic East Norse also spread the masculine r to the singular form, leading to saj. The demonstrative in Old East Norse had many different forms over time. For example, early runic inscriptions had thansi, and in the manuscript era, even more variants existed. Verbs. The vernal alteration between s and r in the copula was leveled out early in East Norse, with war and r already being common in the Viking Age. In contrast, East Norse preserved s in the second person singular copula, with West Norse ert, wart, compared to East Norse est, wast. This was kept in archaic Danish and Swedish for a very long time. Where West Norse had sk in the passive ending on verbs, East Norse simply had an s. This is probably due to deriving it from the dative form of the pronoun sig instead of West Norse sick. East Norse is also distinguished by having second person plural ending in n and not the. This was found in imperative and subjunctive and was probably derived from the latter, leading to West Norse komið, East Norse komin. East Norse spread the present tense r from the third person singular to all singular persons very early on, so that by the manuscript era, all singular persons had r in the present tense. Most East Norse dialects didn't have consistent I mutation in present tense of strong verbs either, with West Norse teker, East Norse taker. The subjunctive in East Norse didn't have I umlaut either, with West Norse væri, East Norse vari. The class 7 reduplicating verbs in East Norse had a broken vowel, with West Norse helt, fjell, and East Norse hjolt, fjoll. Nouns and adjectives. Neuter n stems preserve the n in the plural forms, with West Norse auga, augu, East Norse öga, ögon. Some masculine nouns that had a ir plural in West Norse have jar in East Norse. West Norse drengir, elgir, East Norse drengjar, elgjar. Feminine o stems preserved ar in East Norse, but sometimes got ir in West Norse. West Norse solir, havnir, East Norse solar, havnar. Some other words had different forms, for example, West Norse har, East Norse höger, owing to different Werner alterants. The suffixed definite article in plural was different in West and East Norse, with Western unum and Eastern umin. A very common construction you often see in East Norse is using the feminine noun lund, meaning manner or way, used in various phrases such as thessum lundum or annor lund. Manuscript spelling. Old East Norse lacks a standard normalization. Sometimes runestones are written in a normalized fashion, but manuscripts are generally only transcribed as originally written. The examples given in this video is how Old Swedish sometimes is normalized, but not regularly. In general, short e was written with ash in East Norse, but e in West Norse. The letter eth was hardly used in East Norse, and generally used simply thorn, and later on th, which was used already early on in Danish. The voiced velar fricative, allophone of g, between vowels in word endings, was almost always written gh in East Norse. Also, gemination of consonants was not regularly written in Eastern Scandinavian manuscripts. Before syllabic r, such as in inflection, such as masculine nominative, a prop vowel, often written e or a, was often inserted, but this varied a lot depending on manuscripts. The younger futhark was kept in use and was also expanded, with dots to mark voicing of consonants or different vowel qualities, leading to the medieval runes. For example, the whole Scanian law was written in runes in a manuscript called Codex Runicus, with the longest runic text in any form. But most of the medieval inscriptions were short and on items or buildings. Most of the forms that are quoted here for Old East Norse are of Old Swedish, in particular Eastern dialects. But in practice, Old East Norse had many dialectal variations. One of the most distinct dialects was the Jutland dialect in Denmark, with, for example, having I umlaut in present tense of verbs, unbroken first person pronoun, and even unassimilated forms of nasals. An old difference between Danish and Swedish is that Swedish assimilated the cluster vn to mn. This is, for example, shown in Old Danish jävn, Old Swedish jämn. Due to various differences in, for example, a umlaut and nasal assimilations, and other differences, you can clearly tell apart Eastern and Western Swedish in manuscripts. where you, for example, with an Eastern Swedish dialect, such as an Uppland or Östergötland having konungar, or a Western dialect, such as in Västergötland, having konungar. One area that had many distinct traits was coastal and northern Sweden, with, for example, breaking in some words where other Swedish dialects did not have it, such as här for här. There are many more dialect traits that are often associated with this area, and these dialect features are sometimes called Hedeby Nordic or Birka Swedish. Also, due to comparative evidence, Old Dale Karlian must have been a distinct dialect already this early. Sample text: Uppland, 11th century. Jarlabanki let reisa steina thessa att sig quickvan och brå thessa gerdi för and sina och ein ati allan täby. God hjälpi and hans. Sample text: late 1200s. No thorva land konung välja. Tha skulle thry folkland fyrsto konung tacka. Fett är tiondaland och atundaland och fjädrundaland. Upplanda lagman, han vid Uppsalir, fyrst till konungs döma. Thärnäst, skar lagmader efter adrum. Sodermanna, Östgöta, Tiohärada, Västgöta, Närikia och Västmanna. Ther aho han till krono och konungsdömis skilja, landom rada och riki styra, lag att styrkja och frid halda. Tha är han dömder till Uppsala öda.